I'm gonna try this. It says prepare to setting up your webinar for custom streaming service. It's loading.
All right.
All right, I think I'm gonna try this. I think we got to mute ourselves there.
We're on. It looks like we're on YouTube.
All right, cool. So we are good, I think, right?
All right. I think we're live. We're live Zoom. We're live YouTube.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited. Super excited for this podcast, man. How's your day going to start?
No, it's been going great. Been going great. You know, we've been looking forward to doing this interview for a long time. I know a number of the Solar Surge audience has already been writing in. Where can they find the recording? So I know a lot of them are really looking forward to having their questions answered and, you know, kind of hearing from the master of solar growth. So really excited and honored to have you on the channel today, Zain. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, man. I haven't done a podcast in a little bit, so I'm actually really excited. And every time I do these things, I leave fired up. So I'm really excited for this podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess, you know, for those of us out there who don't know the Zain Jan story, can you tell us a little bit about, like, you know, how did you first get into solar, and what are you doing now? Yeah,
for sure, man. So I'll even go a little bit before that, because usually people like to really get a good understanding of how I got into solar and how I heard about it first. So I come from a immigrant family. Both my mom and my dad migrated to this country. I wasn't born here. I moved here when I was young. I was like 6 months old when I moved here. So I pretty much was raised my whole life here. I grew up in Boston, Massachusetts. That's actually where I first heard of solar. So my entire life, I've always been somewhat of an entrepreneur. I've been somewhat of someone who has always pushed the limit and done things that are maybe not your typical fashion, or maybe, you know, kind of going against the grain, what everyone else is doing. And I wouldn't say I was a good student. I wasn't someone that followed the rules necessarily, and I always used to get in trouble. And as I grew up, I definitely grew up, you could say, in the lower income bracket. My parents didn't have much, but they both worked super hard. So I learned work ethic from my parents, and then I got into solar. I was going to college, actually, and I'm a college dropout. I'm a proud college dropout. I actually tell people I'm still a sophomore in college technically, because I never finished. But I'm a proud college dropout, and I dropped out because I had heard of solar. So when I was in college, I started solar. I was 18 years old, and I got the opportunity because I had a friend reach out to me. He was selling solar, and he basically said, Zain, you got to look at this industry. And he sent me, I think it was either an article or a video on Warren Buffett. And Warren Buffett was talking about solar. He was talking about renewable energy, and he was talking about how it was going to be the largest transformation of wealth in history. And that blew my mind away. I was like, oh my God, like Warren Buffett, who is known as one of the best investors of the last century, he's saying that this is, in the next 100 years, this is going to be the largest transformation of wealth in history. And I know wherever there's transformation of wealth, something is going on. There's a big problem being solved, or there's some sort of disruption going on. And I was really interested to learn more about solar. So I went on this, I went down this rabbit hole. I studied everything about the solar industry. And then I worked at a small startup first in solar. That startup today, believe it or not, I believe is one of the top 5 or 10 solar companies in the US. So when I got there, I worked at the small startup. I was there for about 6 months. It was called Bright Planet Solar. I left to go work at Solar City. I worked at Solar City for over a year, almost 2 years. And I helped build their largest office, which was based out of the Northeast. That's where I met everyone in solar. I learned everything about the industry. I met a lot of the veterans today that, today have some of the bigger companies in the industry. And then, from there on, I got an offer to start my own company through a guy that had been installing for a really long time. And I knew it was a good offer because I was a master at sales. I was a master at marketing. I was a master at recruiting. And I had really started to learn the operations of solar. And I just needed someone with a little bit more experience on that side to help me out. So he had been doing it for a decade. So he made me an offer. We launched a company together. We grew that company to be pretty big. And then once it got to a pretty big size, he wanted to just stay in one market, and I wanted to expand into multiple markets all across the United States. And that's where our vision was different. So a little over 2 years ago, I decided to branch off and start Better Earth. Now, Better Earth today is my company. I'm the CEO of Better Earth. We're based out of California, Arizona, Florida, and then hopefully soon expanding to Texas as well. And we are growing fast. We are a top 20 national installer. About 4 months ago, we got ranked number 19 in the nation. We're the youngest on that list. The next youngest company is 6 years old, and the average age of the company is 9 to 10 years old on that list of top 20. So we've done it in a very quick time. And I believe today we're probably a little under top 15, just because when that ranking came out, it was our old numbers, it wasn't our new numbers. So yeah, the goal now is get to number one, keep expanding this industry, but more importantly for me, help other people get into the industry and inspire everyone that's a part of this, because I think it's so big, it's so massive, and there's so much more to go. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of a rundown of how I got into solar and how I got to where I am today, and what I'm doing today.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an incredible growth story, an incredible success story. You know, given the success that you've already had with growing your business so rapidly, what are your goals, let's say, for the next 5 years? Where do you want to take it? How big do you think this can get?
Yeah, no, for sure. That's a great question. So, first off, I don't just look at myself and the company, but I look at the industry too. I think the industry has a lot of growth to go. And what's super cool about our industry is it is definitely very competitive within. But at the same time, it's like everyone competes, but they come together to be one industry. And really, we all realize that our competition is not each other. Our competition is these big utilities. Our competition, is I like to call the wires and the poles, right? It's the old way of getting your power, and solar is the new way of getting your power. It's more renewable, it's efficient, and one of the things that's, it might sound super basic to people, but this is how I like to explain it to someone that doesn't know much about solar. I tell them, well, what is solar power? It's renewable energy. If you're not getting your power through renewable energy, what are you getting your power through? And they're usually like, well, energy that isn't renewable. Exactly. So why would you, if I told you, Joe, if I told you you're going to start a business, do you want a renewable business or do you want a business that's not renewable? You'd probably be like, well, I'd want a renewable business. Like, I'd want it to keep going. I wouldn't want it to end. I wouldn't want something that's going to end at some point. I wouldn't want something that's in scarcity. And that was how I thought of solar when I first started. And that's how I explain it to people. We are the new generation. We are the new technology. We are the future of energy. And we are less than 1% of the way there. We have an entire world to cover. There's so much more to go. And I really view this industry in the next 5 years being able to reach not only a lot more places in the United States, but all over the world. And what's so cool about solar is, just like a telephone that you have, if you go into a third world country, I've been to a lot of third world countries, believe it or not. And one of the most interesting things is you never saw a landline in those countries, but you could go to a country where they don't even have that much water, or there's people starving, but you'll see someone with a cell phone and a smartphone. And that's because we made it so that there's more access to things like smartphones without this big landline setup. Well, it's the same exact thing with solar. A lot of these, small villages all across the world, they don't have access to the grid. They can't build this $1 billion, $1 trillion massive grid infrastructure all over the world. It's just going to be impossible. But with solar, you can get access to power anywhere. So what I really view long term, I'd say even beyond 5 years, is helping push solar energy just into new markets, new areas, new countries where people really need to get access to clean power. And then in the short term, I'd say like the next 2 to 3 to 5 years, the goal with Better Earth specifically in my company, a little bit less of the industry. It's definitely a bold goal, but it's to be number one in the residential industry. We know we can do it. We know we have the roadmap and the framework to get there. We plan to be number one at marketing. That's, I think, how we separate ourselves, is we're extremely innovative in marketing. There's only, I think, 2 other companies in the entire industry that even spend as much as we do on ads every single month. So we are very, very aggressive in the marketing space because we really believe in our product. We really believe in our pitch, and we think every customer needs to hear about it. And we try to do it in a unique and crafty way where it doesn't push off the customer. So I'd say in the next 5 years, it's to get to number one. It's to provide the best service to our clients and our customers, provide the best technology, be able to make it super seamless to go solar. Hopefully, even at one point, make it so seamless that if someone wants to go solar, they could do it within, a few days from meeting us all the way up until install, fully on their house going. I'd love for that to be a process that only takes 48 to 72 hours. And with a lot of stuff going on, with a lot of legislation being pushed in the, in the favor of solar, I definitely see that start to happen. So yeah, I wouldn't say that there's one answer. There's a lot to do in the next 5 years. That's like the first part. And then for me specifically, I think solar is an amazing place to get into the home and not only make their power renewable and more efficient, but make the rest of the house more efficient. At Better Earth, we like to call it like the better home. We're not just trying to build a better home through solar, but we're trying to build a better home all around, from the efficiency of their house, the products that they use within their house, their windows, their roofing, et cetera, their insulation. We're trying to make it all better. And we believe that in the next 5 years, we'll be able to create more ancillary products and more verticals to truly make it a better experience for our customers.
Great. Yeah, I know it's going to be exciting, and for someone like myself who started out doing solar, I started out doing off-grid systems. And so it was very much, a niche community. And so seeing a lot of these technologies becoming mainstream now and seeing that as a society, we're definitely going towards renewables. One of the things I like about it is it's one of those technologies that gives people more control over their lives. And if you can take control of your energy situation, that's a big part of, right now we're dependent on these big power companies to do that. You can take control and ownership of that yourself. Why wouldn't everybody want to do this?
Exactly. And I think that's what's so appealing about solar is we're making it more affordable, we're making it easier, and we're giving access. And I think in today's day and age, that's what everyone's trying to do.
Now, what you're doing, Zain, though, is really unique because in addition to, managing and leading this high growth solar company, you've also decided to kind of take what's been working for you and turn it into like a master class or a training academy for other solar CEOs. So why is it so important for you, not just to have personal success, but to help other solar CEOs be successful in this as well?
Yeah, so we launched Solar CEOs over a year ago, and the idea with Solar CEOs was really unique. It was how, our industry is really difficult. There's a lot of problems in our industry. There's, in my opinion, a lot of bad characters, people that don't know how to sell the product properly, people that don't know how to run their business properly. And it sucks for me to see. It honestly all started with me running into it myself. We'd be out there in the marketplace and I'd listen to sales reps' objections, I'd listen to customer objections, and a lot of it was related to just misinformation from other companies. So when I look at our industry, like I said, at the end of the day, there's definitely competition within our industry. But for me, it's all of us together, kind of banding together. And the more companies we have out there, the more exposure we have to solar, the easier our industry will grow. And we're going to continue to get down, stay on the right path and really get to where we want to go. So when I look at other solar companies, one of the biggest problems I see is just the lack of information, the lack of education, the lack of systems and processes. So when we built Solar CEOs, the idea was, how can I go out there and instead of looking at these people as competitors, look at them as people that I can potentially collaborate in the future with? And the people that we help people that are sales organizations. They're going out there, building a sales organization, partnering with an installer. We help people that do both. They sell and they install. We help people that just install for sales organizations. We help people that just install as subs for other installers. We help roofers that are getting into solar. We help really every different type of residential vertical. We've even helped some commercial clients, even though that is not our specialty. Our specialty is more residential. But what we believe is that if we can help these companies, one, we make a massive impact on the industry just by helping companies build the right way, do the right things, and have the right information, number one. And then number two, we believe that we can start to collaborate with these people. So if I'm entering a new market, and I've helped a sales company get to the next level, I've helped them with their operations, their system, their marketing, who's the first installer that they're going to want to work with in their market? Most likely the person that's helped them get there, they're going to have loyalty to. I always say people don't have a loyalty to money. They have a loyalty to knowledge and education more so than anything, because when you can learn from someone, that's a skill set that you can keep for the rest of your life. Money can come and go. So I believe when I can provide knowledge and education across, I move these people that are now kind of my competitors into people that I can collaborate with. Or when I enter a new market, there might be an area that I can't, install in, or I don't know how to install in. Maybe I can collaborate with a local installer there that I've helped get to the next level, et cetera. So there's a lot of different use cases for it, but really the idea was, one, helping the industry move forward, and then two, creating a platform where I have so many people in the solar industry that support me, are loyal to me, and want to work with me. So as I expand into new markets and territories, we're able to partner up together and potentially collaborate in the future.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. And that's actually a lot of our philosophy here at Solar Surge and how we approach our video marketing. It's, how can we help other people? In our case, it's mainly through education. Our secret sauce, if you will, is these short little educational videos and product comparison videos, just helping people make sense of what's out there in the solar, whether they're a homeowner trying to figure it out, they've got competing bids, they don't know which equipment, might best meet their needs. Or in many cases, solar sales professionals that are just getting into the business and they're trying to figure out, just exactly what is this gear that they're selling and how does it work and which one's better than the other in certain circumstances. So we definitely have that sort of, philosophy of, let's try to help as many people out as we can. And then if it comes time where there might be an opportunity to work together, then, people will tend to reach out to you. And I'll talk more about that later, but that is how our recruiting works. A lot of our recruits, in fact, I think nearly all of our recruits are solar sales professionals that we're learning from our YouTube videos, helping them to be a more effective solar salesperson.
Yeah. No, 100%. And I think what you guys do is awesome. I got to take a peek at your channel. It's a super awesome channel and it's really cool. I love your strategy. You're adding value for solar salespeople, one, because you're helping them learn more about the industry and their product. You're adding value for homeowners to help get educated on solar, and you're just providing a great platform. So I really acknowledge and commend you for that because I think that helps a lot of people.
Yeah, no, thanks for that. And what I found is that, Solar Surge is becoming more of a community than just a marketing outlet, if you will. You have homeowners that are shopping for solar. You've got sales representatives that are learning about how solar works. And again, we just try to put as much value out there. But tell me, Zain, is there something more to it than that? Like this idea of, not just pursuing personal success, but needing to give back as well?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, for me, the industry changed my life. I was someone that didn't necessarily have a clear future. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew that the industry made sense for me, and I knew that I could be very successful in the industry because I believed in it. I'm someone, I would consider myself a great salesperson. I would consider myself a great marketer, but I'm only a great marketer and salesperson when I believe in something. You'll never hear me talk about products that I don't have confidence in, or I don't believe in, or I don't use. I only talk about products that make sense to me and that I use in my everyday life. So it's something that's super big for me is being in something that I love. And one of the things that we talk about at Better Earth, and I always talk about this with my team and I harp on it, is the reason solar is so amazing. It's one of the reasons that I got into solar was because one, everyone wants a career where they can make money. I think financial success is definitely important. So that's like step one. Like the reason someone usually gets a job where they work somewhere is because they want to at least have the basic means of living and they want to make money. Number two, you can actually help your customer. I think that's a really big point. I think there's a lot of industries where you sell a product, you can make money, but you're not necessarily doing what makes sense for the customer. You're not necessarily doing what is in the best interest of the customer. So what I decided to do was I looked at the industry when I got into it, and I said, well, let me figure out what all the benefits are. And that was, number one is you could make money. Number two is you could give back and you could help the customer save money. You could help them switch to renewable clean power that was going to add value to their home. And then you could actually help the environment too. So now you have the environment winning, which is super awesome, which you rarely see somewhere where you can make money and help the environment win. And then you have someone saving money that's a customer of yours, and you're making their house more efficient. You're taking them solar, you're adding value to their property. Usually, if you're saving someone money, you can't always make money out of that. And then three, you're making money. So when you put all of that together, it's such an amazing industry. So I really feel like I have to give back to this industry because it's done so much for me, number one. But number two, I have to bring more exposure to it. I think there's a lot of misconceptions about what solar is, how solar works. You'll see all of the time, you see people online, on Facebook, on YouTube, etc. Whenever there's a solar video or a solar ad, you'll see people that are not educated on the industry say words like scam. You'll hear people say that it doesn't make sense. You'll hear people say that they're paying more for power. You'll hear people say that it's a bunch of con artists, etc. And these are just people that are not educated on what the industry is and how it works. And they just have a misunderstood, idea or concept because someone sold them the wrong way, or they met with the wrong company, or they met with the wrong salesperson, or they just didn't understand, or they heard someone talking about it that has no idea how the solar industry is. So I really view my platform as a great way to bring more light to the industry, give back to people, and teach people about what this amazing industry can do for them. One of the things that I'm so happy to do always is whenever I'm out, I'm at a restaurant, or I'm buying a car, or I'm buying something at the store. If I see someone that I feel like they have good talent, maybe it's someone that helped me out at a restaurant, a waiter or a waitress, maybe it's a cashier, at the local store, whatever it may be. Whenever I see someone with a good attitude and I see like they're a positive individual, I'm like, I can help this person and this person can help our industry. It is my duty to bring them here. It is my duty to get them into the industry. And people in my company always say, Zain, you're literally our best recruiter. You're like the best recruiter we know. And I always tell them, I'm not a good recruiter. I just really believe in what I do. And I believe everyone needs to be a part of it. Everyone needs to join this journey and this mission. And I think because it's changed my life so much, it brought me from a very low point to a very high point where I'm so happy with what I do every day. I feel like it's a duty of mine to make sure that other people hear more about it and get into this amazing industry.
No, that's very noble, and you're right. I mean, there's tremendous opportunity here, both for young professionals just getting into the industry, and frankly, as you said, tremendous benefit for homeowners as well. I'm a solar homeowner myself. I was before I got into the business, if you want to call it that. It's a technology that, again, I believe in because it gives people more control over a big part of their lives, which is their energy. So let's switch gears a little bit, Zain. So, solar in the age of COVID, how has the solar profession and the solar business, model changed since COVID hit last year?
Yeah, no, when COVID hit, it was crazy. I don't think anyone knew what was going to happen. You had some states deem solar as as an essential business. It was something that was allowed to stay open, and there was definitely some gray area there. Some people saying yes, some people saying no, etc. But the thing with solar that was really unique was up until COVID, in my opinion, no one had ever really fully tested what it was like to do solar just online or just virtually. When I say no one, it's not like there wasn't people doing it. There just wasn't a lot of people doing it, and there was kind of this taboo against it, and there was people just saying it didn't work, etc. So what was really unique was I had started doing it before COVID with no reason other than I always thought it would be great to have an inside sales channel. It would be great to have a virtual model where customers didn't necessarily have to meet anyone to buy solar. They could hop online, they could talk to an expert, and they could make their decision to go solar virtually. And it was a really cool concept to me. And I thought there was a lot of pros to that. And when COVID hit, it was very scary for me. It was very scary for everyone. But as a leader, the first thing I said was, when I'm in a bad situation, me complaining, me telling my team I don't know what to do is not going to help the situation. The only thing that I can do is make the best of what I can control. And what I can control is helping all of my staff members learn how to do the same job that they've been doing in person virtually. And I have installers, permit runners, et cetera, but that started with the salespeople because those are the people that bring our customers in. Almost every other part of the process didn't really need much human contact. A lot of people could just go out there, they could install on their own. They were all, tested, et cetera, but they didn't really need to come in contact with the homeowners. But the salespeople was one really unique place where people were very used to being in contact, whether it was through lead gen, whether it was through door to door, whatever it may be, they usually had to have that face to face. So we really tested everything. So what I did, like within a 48-hour period, I talked to my team. It was almost like a state of union. And I said, we're going to put together every lead that we have in our database. We're going to put together every customer that we attempted to take solar and didn't end up going solar. We're going to market heavily. We're going to put hundreds of thousands of dollars just into marketing this month. And we're going to get things going. And we are going to provide our staff with as many solar homeowners as possible to talk to. And we're going to create the best virtual process. And at first there was hiccups, there was kinks, it was building out scripts, making it scalable and duplicatable. But next thing you know, I think when the first like real lockdown happened, a month after that, we had our biggest month in company history. And we did that all virtually. And before COVID, we were probably 80% to 90% all in person. So to switch completely to virtual was a big thing, but then to have our biggest month doing it was amazing. And now it's just an everyday part of our business, but it allowed us to really understand that this business is really possible anywhere. And now we have sales reps that can live in California and sell in Florida, or people that can live in Massachusetts and sell in Florida, Texas, and California. So it's such an amazing thing. And it's something that I always continue to push. I am one of those business owners that believes in diversity when it comes to sales. I don't think you should ever just sell one way. I think as a business owner, it's always smart to have as many channels as you can. So I'm an advocate of virtual. I'm an advocate of different methods of online sales. I'm an advocate of in-person and in-home appointments. I'm an advocate of door-to-door. I'm an advocate of strategic partnerships and groups, and meeting people at events, etc. I really love all of it. But I think up until now, a lot of that was tangible, except virtual. And I'm almost blessed that we had COVID happen. Obviously, I'm sad for all the things that happened and a lot of the industries and people that were affected, but really happy for our industry because I think it taught our industry that we really are bulletproof. And when we got hit with the worst of the worst, we thrived as an industry, and that was awesome to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I like what you said about, you can't really complain about these things that you can't control. You had to figure out a way to make it happen. And in fact, that, a big part of why and how Solar Surge was born was out of the necessity created by COVID and the fact that the in-home face-to-face sales model for my business just didn't work anymore. And so for those of you who don't know, a little bit of backstory on Solar Surge and how I came to relaunch the business in the form that it is now. I actually had a contracting installation business, which was one of the largest here in Virginia, that failed. And COVID was kind of the nail in the coffin. It was already on the way down, losing money on a number of projects, but COVID was kind of the nail in the coffin. And so I found myself in a situation where I was like, look, out of cash. My wife just decided to go back to work because my business wasn't producing income anymore. And so I had to figure out a way to relaunch my business with very limited resources. And so I had to take stock of what I had in front of me. And it turned out I had an iPhone and I had a TV hanging on the wall in my bedroom and a tripod. And I just started putting videos out, starting to get a conversation going around solar. And so I was able to kind of take all that experience I had on the construction side of the business, turn it into this video or information library, and then start building a community around that. And so the Solar Surge that exists today is a 100% virtual business, which may not have even been accepted by the marketplace before COVID. But now, as you described, we're able to have people, let's say here in Virginia, but we're doing projects in California, Arizona, Texas, Florida, and even people internationally able to do the virtual sales process and help people to go solar. So, sometimes you just have to, you just got to make the best of what's available. I mean, that's part of the process.
It's so important, especially in our industry too. There's so many homeowners out there. There's so many people that need our product. There's so many people that need to understand how our product works, and there's so many channels. That's why it's so funny when I talk to solar business owners and they tell me, I always ask them what's your biggest problem? And sometimes I hear cash, and I always respond back cash is not the problem. My favorite investor, okay, I got one investor and it's my favorite investor. And I always tell this to people. They ask me, Zane, did you have any investors? I said, yeah, I had one investor. They said, who is that magic investor? I was like, I can introduce you into that investor, but this investor is going to want you to work hard. And they say, yeah, I'm going to work hard. Who's that investor? I said, it's your customer. The best thing about solar is you can go out there, you can find customers, and they are your investor. They are the path to building your business. You don't really need that much overhead to build a solar business to start, especially on the sales end. You don't really need much of a marketing budget. You just need knowledge and information, which everyone has access to online. If you're watching this video, you have access to it. And there's, millions of customers out there in the US that we can go out there and we can talk to, we can provide this product to, and we can make money. And that's my favorite investor always, is your customer. If you don't start with a lot of funds, the best thing, and you actually said this, is to go out there and create a conversation. Create that conversation, let people start to talk about that product, explain and educate people, and you're going to start to find a lot of customers. And that can really be the funds to build your business. And that's, again, what I love about this industry. And one of the other things that we love about solar CEOs is we definitely have a marketing emphasis, and we like to help people marketing. But we also have some people that start and they don't really have that much of a marketing budget. And our goal is to help them multiply by providing them the right information and knowledge so that they can go out there and get the right customers, build a business with positive cash flow, and start to scale. And I think that's the beauty of our industry. Anywhere else, you want to build a burger franchise, You need cash, you need a location, you need inventory, you need product. You want to build a sneaker store, you need inventory, you need product, you got upfront money. You want to build a solar business, especially on the sales end, you don't need a single dollar. You just need work ethic, you need confidence, and you need knowledge and information to understand this industry. And that's the beauty of it.
That's 100% correct. The opportunities in this industry are limitless for somebody who's really willing to work hard, make the most of the opportunity, and frankly, just make it happen. It does not take a lot of capital, and I can attest to that now, personally.
And
So
there's really like I think one of the cool parts about that too for me is I truly believe it's the best opportunity right now. I have not seen another opportunity with a low enough barrier to entry with a high enough reward that's as fulfilling and helps as many people. So that's another best part about it. Like I always challenge people to tell me if they have a better opportunity than this, and it's really hard for people to hit all of those points. That solar provides you with.
absolutely. Now let's talk about growth, because this is one of the things that I think that you've been able to do better than just about anybody else out there, which is how do you take something that's working and scale it up quickly and do that predictably? Because I mean, you've done this multiple times now with your last two companies. Is you've got something that works and then you're able to scale rapidly without losing profitability and just keeping that success going. So how does that work?
Yeah, I'd say step one is the right people. It's really important to be surrounded by the right people whenever you're building any business, but especially in the solar industry. You need people that are bought in, and you need people that have a similar vision to you and want to do this with you. And that's extremely important. So I think the first thing is finding the right people. I would say more than anything, I'm an amazing talent scout. Like I said, all people always tell me, Zane, you're the best recruiter. And I tell them I'm not the best recruiter. I just believe in my thing so much that I want to tell everyone about it. And I'm always going out there. And one of the things that I do is I'm just looking at people and I'm seeing what are they doing. When I go to Starbucks, how is that barista making my coffee? How are they providing it to me? Are they saying please? Are they saying thank you? Are they saying my pleasure? Are they saying these words that show a little bit of customer service? Are they nice? Are they smiling? I'm looking everywhere to try to find people that I think might have good talent. And I'm always recruiting people. I can't tell you how many people I've recruited just walking into a coffee shop, being at a restaurant, and not just for sales, for operations too. I've recruited so many amazing people just going out there and talking about what I love to do. So I'd say number one, with the foundation is you need the right people. And then number two, on top of the right people, you need the right mission. You need people to be bought into what you're doing. You need people to believe in it. And vision is something that's so important. It's something that you need every single day, especially as the leader of a company, the CEO of a company, really anyone that is building or running a company. You need to have vision and you need to believe in your vision and you need to push and disseminate your vision amongst your people every single day. It needs to be laser clear. Your team needs to be focused on what you're doing and on your vision and what you're trying to create. And when you have the right people mixed with the right vision that's being pushed and disseminated every single day across your team, you just need persistence and hard work ethic. And when you can put all of that together, it's this crazy formula. I think the reason people have always asked me how I've been able to build so fast and maybe they haven't been able to duplicate at the same level of success is because people sometimes overcomplicate it. They think there's some crazy thing that they don't know, but it really always comes down to the basics. Like when you look at the Solar CEOs program that we created, we didn't come up with some crazy complex method. All we did was I had so much trial and error that went on in my solar career over the last 7, 8 years that I learned from. And I wrote down everything and I just found out what worked. And I kept doing what was working. We just kept implementing this works, this works, this works. Instead of trying to deviate and do something different or reinvent the wheel, I was going to keep doing what worked for me in the past. So now when you have the right people, you have the vision. So your people are willing to work hard and they're bought into it. And then through trial and error, you have the right systems and processes, and you just keep doing what's working. The thing is going to grow tremendously and super scalably. But I think that third part, even if people have the right people and they have the vision, sometimes they don't always keep doing what's working. They like to deviate from the mission or they like to deviate from what's worked for them in the past. But really what we do is we double down on the principles that have got us to where we are today, and we just keep doing them and we keep going at them. And I think when you add that equation together, that's really what equals success. It equals fast growth. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of trouble. There's a lot of problems. There's a lot of things that we go through that a lot of people don't see behind closed doors. When you look at my company and you look at Better Earth, it's so amazing to see how big it's grown and the success we have, the sales we have. But just like anyone in any company, there's so many problems behind closed doors. But what we do really well is we accept problems, we handle them, we confront them. And like we talked about before with COVID, we control what we can control. And we always try to go off of what has worked for us in the past. And I think because the team is so bought in, because we've picked the right people that believe in our mission, they're willing to go through those obstacles and those hard times and help us build this dream company that at the end of the day is helping a lot of people, helping the people involved, helping the families of the people that work with us, and then obviously helping our customers and our families that we serve. So it's really just all around. When you put all of that together and you keep doing it, it just becomes successful. And that was one of the reasons we created Solar CEOs. A lot of people might not have all of that. And we believe with the right information, the right knowledge of things that have worked for me that I've had to fail through, we can cut time out of the equation for a lot of people and give them the system, the processes, the knowledge, the information that I've gotten. And as long as they implement it, they will be successful. And one of the really cool things that we've actually done in our program is we've looked at results of clients and companies that we've helped. And all the time when we have companies that haven't wildly succeeded, it was because they didn't follow what we did, or they didn't implement what we had, which was working. They kept trying to change it and just do their own version of it. And that's what led to failure. And whenever we look at the companies that succeeded the fastest and got to their goal the quickest, they were just implementing what we said and doing what we did. And it might seem like common sense, but it's something that I think a lot of people look over.
Yeah. I mean, and I'll just tell you my personal experience. So I've been on your guys' program since June. And June is really when Solar Surge, I would say that the new business model proved itself. That we could do video marketing without paying for leads, that we could close virtually, that we could get those jobs installed and paid out, and that we could do all that profitably. And so right at that point, that's when I started your program, and we've grown our sales 250% in those 4 or 5 months, and we're just going to keep going from there. But thanks, but really, this is a testament to what you've been able to do. And the way I looked at it is like, look, clearly they have figured out a lot of these challenges and questions of how to build, structure a successful solar company. If they've already figured this out and they're willing to offer this as a training program, basically, I happen to be a college dropout too. I dropped out in my junior year. I was in engineering school. But it's not because I don't value education. In fact, I value education a lot, especially when somebody has done what you are trying to do. That's the most valuable education in many cases. And that's what Solar CEOs has offered us and say, hey, if you'd like to have a successful solar business, this is what it looks like. And we have a 1-year program that's going to walk you through that step by step. And, it's not cheap, but I look at it as tuition. That, what I invest in Solar CEOs is 10 times as valuable to me as what completing my engineering degree would have been, because you're helping me walk through the path that you've already walked through, that I want to walk through, and then enable me to open up the door to so many more opportunities from there. So just full disclosure.
Love that, man. Love that.
Yeah. So guys, if you're out there, if you're watching on the live stream, or if you're logged in on the webinar, if you have questions for Zain, this is free tuition, guys. This is stuff that I personally pay thousands of dollars a month to have access to Zain and his network and his knowledge base. But if you're a solar professional out there and you're looking to grow your business, or you're looking to just grow yourself in terms of your personal development as a solar professional, go ahead and put your questions in the live chat below. We'll do some Q&A here towards the end of the interview. I'll be monitoring on YouTube here, and I know we've got some folks logged in on the Zoom webinar as well. But I guess, Zain, where would you like to go with the conversation from here while we're waiting for questions?
Yeah. So I think one of the cool things you just brought up was kind of like your company's success and your company's growth. So With our program, one of the reasons that I launched it, like I told you, was to help people get the right information. So, what are some of the things that you've been able to get from the program for people that might be watching, that might be a solar business, or they might be starting a solar business? What are some of the things that you've been able to get from the team that you've been able to implement into your business that have really changed your business, or been able to help you maybe cut time out of the equation?
Sure. I think, number one has been having the virtual sales program. I mean, that's key. Being able to attract and engage with solar prospects all over the country. Number two would be understanding your key performance indicators. It's not rocket science. I mean, like you said, it's really like five main indicators that we're tracking. Leads, number of appointments, number of deals closed, installations completed, and so forth. And we want to track those things on a per sales rep basis and be disciplined about it. My whole approach to team management, especially when you're managing a virtual team, is it's all numbers based. It's all performance based. And as long as you're looking at and you're tracking those key performance indicators, then making management decisions to me becomes just a matter of common sense. If you have the right data there, it's just common sense. And then one of the nice things that I think also helps is, having a one-on-one coach that can help you walk through the plan and kind of roadmap. So, you guys kind of put together a 1-year roadmap with milestones to get from where we were on day one to where we want it to be at the end of the first year. Now, I think we're probably going to hit our year one goal at the 6-month mark, and it's all just going to be gravy from there. But no, I think it's structure, understanding your numbers, having a coach one-on-one to be held accountable, that you're sticking on track with the roadmap. But a lot of it is built for you guys. I mean, you've got the CRM system, which is instrumented in such a way that it tracks most of those key indicators for you. So as long as you use the platform, if you just work the process, a lot of that data just comes out automatically for you. So that part's been great.
Love that, man. Love that. So I'm looking at some questions here. Looks like we have Ian. So Ian asked this on the Q&A. I'll ask this first, or I can answer this, and then maybe you can answer this too. When a rep is just starting out, what is his or her main focus points to become successful selling solar? I would say the biggest point for me, if you're a brand new sales rep, and I try to tell this to all of my people, number one is just knowledge. It's learning. It's not that complicated. It's going to seem a lot more overwhelming when you start. I remember when I first started, I was a little bit overwhelmed by solar and all the moving parts and all the things that were involved in the solar sales cycle. But you got to learn. So I think the first thing is getting as much knowledge as you can to become successful, because whenever a customer asks you questions, if you have the right answers or you know what you're doing, you're going to come off as really professional. Number two is, if you don't know that information, being coachable, being honest with your customers, telling them, listen, I'm new at this business, but I'm still learning, but I can get that answer over to you, and learning through being transparent, being honest, and going through the motions with your customer. And then I'd say number three is just simply it's persistence, it's time, it's the amount of time that you're out there talking to customers, the successful conversations that you're having with homeowners, the amount of times that you're actually getting out there, and the frequency. And I wasn't good at the beginning. I always tell people the first 2 months in solar, I wasn't that good, but I had so many repetitions, so many times where I didn't close, just talking to people. And that really got me to master the industry. It got me to master the product. And then I got so confident because I felt like I knew more about it than anyone else out there that was quote unquote selling solar. And that's what gave me the confidence. So when I would sit across from a homeowner, I'd always be like, listen, there's no one that knows more about this than me. There's no one that's going to work harder for your business than me. And I will be there for you 24/7, 7 days a week. I will be there for you. And I had that confidence, and I was able to have these bold claims. And that's why I think a lot of my customers didn't shop. They just went solar with me because they knew that I really believed in my product and I knew everything about it. So I'd say the biggest thing is get that knowledge, get that information, go through the motions, and have these repetitions with customers, and don't stop. Have a high amount of appointments, frequency, talk to as many people as you can about solar so that you can learn as quickly as possible. So that's kind of my answer to it. I don't know if you want to add to that.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with that. You got to know your stuff. As a solar professional, you got to know your stuff. That's a lot of the reasons why we have on the Solar Surge channel is videos to help solar salespeople understand what it is that they have available to offer. The other thing I would say is you got to learn how to do proper discovery. If you're in a sales call, the way we do things here, if you're on an initial sales call with a client, for the first half of that call, the prospect should be doing 75% of the talking. You should just be asking questions. You should be asking questions until you have it crystal clear in your mind exactly what it is this homeowner is looking to achieve. Is it savings? Is it backup? Is it a combination of both? Are there strong preferences for any particular brands that are out there, or any particular aesthetic preferences, roof mount, ground mount? You know, you want to understand exactly what it is that they want and they need. Let them be 100% fully heard, and then take your time and put together, you know, a proposal to match those needs. And one mistake I see a lot of young solar sales professionals make is they have a proposal that was pre-built for them based on requirements that they don't understand. So they go in and they deliver the pitch, or they read the script, and then they're pushing the homeowner to close on this thing, to sign on this thing, and they don't even really understand what it is they're offering, and it may not even be exactly what the homeowner is looking for. So I would say make sure that you really take your time to do discovery well. All professional selling starts with needs analysis. You need to ask the right questions, really uncover what it is this homeowner is looking to achieve, and then, because you know your stuff and you did your homework, then you can prescribe the solution. So we have a question here on YouTube. As a solopreneur, what role would be the first addition you would be looking at hiring first to help manage and grow beyond salespeople?
So beyond salespeople and sales management, just like outside of solar, I think the first role in not just solar, but in any business is someone that can help you get organized. It's either like an executive assistant, it's a personal assistant, it's a project manager, it's someone that can help you get organized. And I remember it was a very big deal for me when I got my first assistant, who would be able to help me organize my projects, manage my projects, making sure I was following up with my customers, making sure that I was providing the level of customer service that I was used to giving when I had a lot of customers and my pipeline got bigger. That changed the game for me because it allowed me to elevate, it allowed me to do more, it allowed me to train more, it allowed me to help more people, recruit more, sell more, because I had someone else that was helping manage everything for me. And I think in a business, a lot of times, especially solopreneurs, people that are just starting and they're kind of on their own, they try to take on too much without delegating properly. And that's usually where a lot of businesses fail, is they take on so much, they're not organized, and they don't delegate. And because they don't delegate, they often fail, because again, they just get confused, they don't provide the right level of customer service, and they don't have the right level of attention. But when you can find someone that's either an assistant, an executive admin, or like a project manager who can help you push that stuff through, make sure that your life and your business is organized, and in solar specifically, make sure that your projects are organized and everything is moving through properly, it's going to be a game changer for your business. So that was like the big first hire that I would make, where you're going to see like the biggest bang for your buck and like almost like an immediate ROI.
Great, awesome. Let's see if we have anything else here.
I see. Which CRM are you using? So as a company, I use a few. My backend CRM that my install company uses is called Insightly. We've custom built a lot of things on top of there. My front end CRM is called Automate. We built it on top of something called High Level, but we custom coded everything. We like skint it and built our own version of it, built the solar version of it, added on a lot of our own plugins, our own tools, and really just custom coded a bunch of stuff. And when you're actually working with our program, you get access to that for free. So if any of you are on this call, it might be solar business owners, might be someone that's starting a solar business, and want to kind of hear more about like the CRM, the software, the marketing, all of that stuff. You can head over to our website, solarceos.com /free call. So solarceos.com /free call. And you can actually book a free call with our team to hear more about our products and whatnot. But that's our CRM.
Awesome. Yeah, and we're on that platform ourselves. That's what we use here at the Solar Surge design team. You know, we use it to track all of our projects in the sales pipeline and even through to installation. So very, very intuitive platform that comes with it there.
Cool.
Okay.
Any other good questions? I see someone here. Would be interested to hear Zane's thoughts on dealer fees and when pricing a system too high is unethical, blah, blah, blah. I think that's just, really a market by market question. I never like to go too deep into that stuff or talk too much about that stuff because I think that's always the wrong focus. What I like to do is offer our customer the best value based on the service that we're going to provide. Solar is a very service-based business. It is something that is very service-based. It requires a lot of attention. It requires project management. It requires attention, and you want to make sure that you get your solar system installed the proper way. So there's a lot of people out there that might be going super low and selling at the cheapest rates, but that's never the best service, or it's not always the best service. You might get the wrong panels, you might get the wrong warranty, or you might get a company that's going out of business, and that's not what you want. And then you have companies on the flip side that I think are being unethical and charging too much and not providing the right service. I think the best way to look at it, especially if you're a solar business, is look at what exchange am I providing to my customers? What delivery am I providing to my customers? What value am I adding to them? I'm going to charge a good price for that. That's going to make my business profitable, make my people profitable, and give us enough capital to continue to grow our business so we can have more customers while we're still helping the customer. The only time I think any business cycle is unethical is when there's a lack of exchange, when one person is paying X for a product and the other person is not delivering the product that was promised or the expectations that were set or really going above and beyond. But I think with solar, a lot more companies need to focus a little bit less on pricing and a lot more on value that they're providing and be able to match their value with the price that they're charging. Cool.
Yeah. So Zain, what would you tell to door-to-door sales teams that are out there? For a lot of the solar pros out there, the door-to-door model is still sort of that tried and true way to grow and bring in new business. Well, what would you say to sales teams that are doing purely door-to-door now? What might be the next best step for them, or the first step towards starting a virtual department?
Yeah, so I would say to everyone, I'd say this to people that are just virtual and then people that are just door to door. I tell this to both sides. And I actually mentioned it a little bit earlier, is we need to have, as solar people in general, whether you're a business owner, a solopreneur in solar, just a salesperson, you always want to have diversity because you never know what's going to happen. Something like COVID could happen. Who knows what could happen online? Anything could happen. Again, we never know. Like 3 years ago, if you said COVID was going to happen and you told people what the results were, most people probably would never believe that. Most people would all think that it's a hoax. It would never happen. They would never lock down an entire economy, country, and government. People wouldn't believe that, but that happened. So anything can happen. So you always got to prepare, especially as a business owner, not just in solar, but in any business. You need to be prepared for the inevitable and for something to happen that you're not predicting. So if I'm a solar salesperson, I'm just doing door to door. I want to keep doing it because it's what's working for me and it's what's been successful, but I want to add different things to my arsenal. And going online, I can actually extend my reach. I can talk to more people. I can meet more people in different areas. I can add more time to my day because if I'm just going door to door and prospecting, I might be going out there and meeting a few customers a day and maybe selling some. But when I'm online, I can reach a much greater quantity of customers. And instead of driving appointment to appointment or walking appointment to appointment, I can go appointment to appointment online and not really waste that much time. And then on virtual, I tell people the same thing. Virtual is great and you can add a lot more time to your day. But with door to door, there might be some customers that just aren't online or they're not opting into your products online, or they just prefer that in-home experience. So you got to be able to go out there and attract and catch those customers too. But it's really about doing both. But what I think I see more of is people that are in person that are resistant and hesitant to going online. And a lot of times it's just because they don't know how it works or how it's going to be. And it's something different than they were originally thought. But if people put their attention and they put their time on it and they go out there and they just take the same skill set that they have in home and they can provide that same value on an online transaction, they're going to find that they're actually going to add more time to their day. And they're probably going to be able to reach more customers because they're doing it virtually, they're doing it online. And you also find that a lot of customers sometimes will prefer that experience. It might be a better experience for them. But it does not mean to go out there and quit doing what you're doing. A lot of times I see people, they do door to door and they just completely quit and just go online, or they do online and they quit and they just go virtual. It's never one or the other. It's never black and white. I think you should do your best to always be having as many sales channels as possible and be prepared for anything that could happen, because it's an industry and it's a world where times are changing fast and anything truly could happen. So every person needs to be prepared.
Awesome.
Cool. What other questions do we have, folks? Any other good questions?
We've got one question here from Kevin on YouTube. He's asking, can you give us any insights into attracting and retaining installers, or do you advise like outsourcing or partnering with third-party EPC companies?
Got it. So when he says installers, does he mean actual installers like the people, or does he mean the companies?
I think he's talking about outsourcing or third-party companies.
Okay, got it. So he says, any insight into attracting and retaining installers, or do you advise outsourcing / partnering with installers? Okay, got it. So I think what he's saying is keeping your own installers versus just partnering with other install companies that will do the install for you. That could be done in a lot of different ways in our industry. If you're an install company that owns the licensing and the contracts, you could use a sub and just pay them a flat fee. That's one way to do it. If you're a sales company, you could just partner with installers that do all of the EPC work for you and they hold the contract in their name. I personally believe if you're just getting started, it makes a lot more sense to start just on the sales side and fully EPC out to someone that can do all of your work for you. I don't say that with a bias because that's what I do. I'm a fulfillment company, but I say that because if you look in a solar transaction and if you start to know the numbers, a lot more of the money is in selling the deal. There's a lot more money in selling the deal, managing the project, giving the customer good customer service, and walking them through that cycle. And that's where truly a lot of the margin is. And there's a lot less overhead on that side. So I would really double down and focus and make that as big as possible before you do anything. And then in terms of if you have installers, just actually retaining them, if that's a part of the question, like real installers that are installing for you, that just comes down to retaining any employee. Do you have good benefits? Do you have good compensation? And are you incentivizing them and making their job feel like it's fulfilling and competitive? With my installers, they're incentivized and they're competitive and they want to go out there and they want to install more kilowatts because it's directly affects their compensation plan. They can make more money and it's gamified. So just like we do on sales, we gamify our operations and our installs too. So that's kind of from that angle. And then if you are an installer and the question is doing the installs yourself or just subbing out, I truly try to recommend doing it yourself because you can control the customer experience more and you never know what experience another company might provide on the install side, and you're taking on all of the risk and the liability. So it's kind of a threefold answer depending on what the question exactly was, but I think that answer will answer everyone.
Zain, do you think that there's like a sweet spot or a certain volume threshold where it makes sense to go from purely sales to doing sales with in-house installation as well?
So it's never going to be about margin. It will never be about margin because if the reason you're doing it is to make more money, it's the wrong reason. The amount of margin that you gain, but the amount of headache and liability and risk and capital constraint and overhead that you take on is much higher than the margin that you gain. You can actually, by taking that same effort and putting it into creating more sales, you'll make way more. And that's the honest answer. The reason we started Better Earth, one, I had a lot of experience doing both sides, but two, when we actually originally started, the first 90 days or so, we just sold and we partnered with an installer. And then we converted, not because we wanted to, but one, I had a great opportunity to acquire an installer that I had a great relationship with that was willing to make a great deal with me. That's one, I just had a great opportunity personally. But two, and more importantly, this is gonna relate to everyone. I couldn't find a great installer. I couldn't find someone that managed the projects the way I wanted to in some of the markets I was. So I wanted to go out there and create the best experience possible. And that's why I personally created Better Earth. But looking back today, there's a lot more companies, there's a lot more people that are improving their experience. If I'm in that situation again, I don't think there's a threshold where I switch over. I just switch over if I feel like it's getting so painful trying to deal with an installer and I want to control that experience more. But just like a fair warning to everyone, it's a lot harder than it looks. And if you think it's hard, it's probably harder than that. But I wouldn't say that there's like a number. If I were to give a minimum number before doing it, I would say do at least 100 a month before you even think about it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's a big number, but I don't think it's worth it until you get to at least that point, and that's a minimum for me.
Yeah,
it used to be a smaller number. Yeah, I was saying it used to be a smaller number for me. And as I took it on more and more and got better and better at it, I realized how complex of a problem we're solving, and to do it the right way, it's a lot harder. So I actually took it to 100, and now that's my answer. It used to be a lot less, but now I believe 100 is a point where it's like, okay, you can start at least thinking about it.
Good stuff. Looks like we have a few more here on the Zoom.
Cool. Let's see. What do you suggest you use to track projects as a sales company, partnering with multiple installers? Again, it's another thing that I recommend. I know a lot of people do this, so I don't want to offend anyone, but I try your best to not partner with multiple, because you have multiple different experiences. So that's honestly what I recommend. But if you're put in a situation where you want more coverage and you got to partner with multiple, it's going to be tough, because it's not only managing your own sales, but it's managing your installs with them. And every company usually has a different process and a different backend. So the reason that we built Automate was so that it could be like an all-in-one sales tool, where you could manage all of your projects and sales, and that could talk to the other CRMs of other companies. So there's no like one good answer, but I love Automate. And the reason we built Automate the way that we built it was specifically for that, was for people that were selling deals, had a lot of jobs in, wanted a super easy, simple way to track it, but didn't necessarily have the need for some big, robust back-end system. But if you're an installer, it's different.
Great. So yeah, again, guys, the website is solarceos.com/free call. If you'd like to chat with Zain and his team and just get an idea of what might be possible, or what might be a good growth plan for you and your business, solarceos.com/free call is the website.
Yeah, and if you're interested in that, just just to give everyone a little bit more of a background, we like to bring in businesses and we like to help businesses grow. The things that we like to help with are marketing. One, if you don't have good marketing set up, or that's something you don't know how to do, we'd love to help that and potentially do it for you. We'd love to help you recruit the right talent, something we've gotten really good at. And then we'd help to more than anything, give you the accountability and give you the coaching to hold your hand through implementing a lot of these systems and making sure this stuff gets done, all while organizing your business, helping you track your stats, looking at your key performance indicators, and on a week-to-week basis, helping you figure out what you need to do to improve your business. So I know there's a lot there, but there's a lot to do in the solar business to be successful. And I'm definitely nowhere where I want to be, but I've gotten very far, and I want to be able to help share and disseminate and make the road for a lot of you easier. So if that's something that seems appealing to you and you just want to hear more about it, like Joe said, solarceos.com/free call, and we'll hop on a call with you. We'll diagnose your business and we'll see if we got a good solution for you.
Yeah, on that note, I would just say, for other solar business owners out there, one of the big advantages with this is that, so much of the entrepreneurial process is learning by trial and error, or learning by failure, getting the experience, and then moving forward. What the Solar CEOs membership provides for me, I think a big part of it is, I don't have time to learn everything Zain learned through trial and error, right? But I can invest some cash to sort of inherit or to acquire access to that experience and that wisdom, and then apply all the bits of it that apply to my business. And so that's how I look at it, is yes, you do have to invest some cash, but you get years of your life back, not having to go and acquire all those lessons through your own experience. Is invaluable.
Yeah, and it's crazy with solar. I think solar is such an amazing industry where it'd be hard to do this in other industries, but with the solar industry, especially the pricing of our program, all it really takes is like a deal or so to really pay off the program. So if you can do a deal a month and we can help you add that to your business, that's enough to break even. And we're going to do a lot more than that. And oftentimes we see people literally 10x plus their ROI over the course of a year. So it's, for me, it's something that's really awesome to see that we can do. And I don't think that's just because we're so great, but I think the solar industry is such a great platform. And for people that learn it, I think it can be a very profitable venture too. And that's really our goal at the end of the day. We don't just want to bring people here to help them learn about the industry, but you are a business. You do have to be profitable. You do have to grow. And that's very important to us. And we really like to track and measure our clients' results so that we can help them hit those goals.
Absolutely.
Cool.
All right, checking YouTube, see if we have any more questions coming in. We did have a question here from Theo, and this is, does micronuclear or green hydrogen, wind, or any other energy sources pose a threat to Better Earth and your roadmap?
Right now, to be completely honest with you, we don't look that much into it. We're very laser focused, head down on the residential solar industry specifically. Even when people ask me about diving into commercial, I will get there at some point, but right now we have so much on our plate to focus with our industry. But all I can say is residential solar is growing at a record rate and it continues to grow. I've been in this thing for almost 8 years, and every year it's only gotten better and better and better. So that is my primary focus, and nothing to us is really a threat because we believe that there's use for everything. But with residential solar specifically, I truly believe it is the thing that will make the most sense here in the future. So that's where I put all of my attention. So to answer your question a little bit more directly, no, we don't view it as a threat.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Well, I got another call I gotta get to. So if you don't mind, we will end this now. But Joe and Solar Surge, man, I just gotta say you have a phenomenal podcast. I love everything you're doing. I love all the information that you're providing. I think it tremendously helps our industry. It helps all the people in our industry. It helps our customers. It helps everyone just get more of an understanding of how solar works. So I just want to say I really appreciate you, man, and thank you for creating this platform. And I think you give back to the industry in more ways than you might know. So thank you very much for that.
Yes, I know. Thank you. And thank you for taking the time to chat with our audience today. We're going to make sure that the video will be up for everyone tomorrow. We've got the link again at solarceos.com/free call, which we've got in the chat there. And so folks, if you're looking to grow your business, I can tell you that this is working in my business. Zain knows what he's doing. And this is a guy that believes in the industry enough to want to give back all this experience that he's had to acquire the hard way. Because I know it's not been all success every step of the way on this. He's been willing to kind of give this back in the form of a training and a coaching program. So Zain, thanks for everything that you do, and thanks for coming on the channel. And we hope to have you on again in the future.
All right. Well, I really appreciate your time, Joe. Thank you so much to the Solar Surge squad and all the audience. Thank you. Thank you for everything, and hope to talk to you soon.
All right, Zain, take care.
All right, man.
And again, guys,
Bye-bye.
as always, make sure that you like and subscribe if you're getting good value from the information on the channel here. And we'll see you next time.